Oh,
You actually did it. I'm so
I
proud.
did. I did. Let me say that Ubisoft was so boring that even Aisha Tyler could not save it.
But seriously, that intro, what
No.
the
I,
the fuck was I watching? Like what?
it was watching somebody taking a giant shit on Freddie Mercury's memory and wiping their ass with his mustache.
And okay, can we talk about the world's worst air guitar solo?
What happened to Butterfly Man? Did he die?
I
I
don't
hope
know.
he did. I hope he did. Fuck
Like
that guy.
like seriously, I need to find a video just of that intro, and just so you people can see, like, oh my, like,
It was awful.
but there is no lead in. Like, all it is you get launched into this crazy, like, Sergeant Pepper's psychedelic acid trip shit.
It's set to "Don't Stop Me Now."
Yeah,
Like,
and
why would you do this to Freddie Mercury?
like
Everybody loved this man. Don't fucking shit on his memory.
like I the way I've been doing these, and I'm pretty sure the way you've been doing these is, we're watching the press conference, and we're just kind of taking notes. Like
Yep.
I have my phone out, and I'm in Google Docs, and I have on my iPad, I'm playing the video, and I'm just typing stuff. And like literally the only things I can think to type are, what the fuck am I watching? You aren't Freddie Mercury. Worst air guitar solo ever. And then, seriously, what the fuck, Ubisoft? Like, what is this? And then I laughed because Aisha Tyler comes out, and the first thing she does is makes fun of the dance routine. Like,
Yes, it was
I don't,
wonderful.
I don't. She was like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but it was choreographed by the people who make Just Dance.
Yes,
So,
and
so that's what it is. It was a live trailer for Just Dance 2017. And this, and to Ubisoft's defense, Microsoft had this massive problem too, where they would just fucking show a trailer with no lead in, so you
no
had no
context.
idea what it was. And like I had found myself like just having to type game and then start bullet points on stuff that they show in the trailer, and
Yep.
then by the end of it go back and be like, oh hey, this was Gears of War 4 5 minutes later. Like,
In fact, what I did for Ubisoft, it was literally just I was reading your notes and writing down which trailer it was, so that I could
yeah,
actually take notes beforehand.
yeah, it was just, I love that you abused my notes by,
I absolutely
yeah.
did because
but
you watched this before I did.
but then the funny thing that I know, like, about this giant intro, is they start listing all the consoles that Just Dance 2017 is going to be a part of, and they specifically mention that it will be on the Nintendo NX next year,
Yeah, they
which
kind
is
of
like,
shit the bed on that.
did Ubisoft just spoil Nintendo's announcement?
They sure did. They sure did. Uh,
Uh,
what I loved about that was when Aisha Tyler, right after this, was like, "Welcome everyone lucky enough to be sitting in this theater, and even luckier to be watching at home around the globe because you have snacks and you probably didn't shower today."
yes,
I
like,
fucking loved her. She was a great presenter.
yeah, and it was almost at times like they were trying too hard and being edgy. Like, so
Yeah.
she mentioned that, like, the reason that we're at E3 and the reason they do these press conferences and the reason we watch these press conferences is to get wood. Like,
Or
that's,
Girlwood.
and then she, yeah, specifically mentions girlwood, and then is like, yeah, that's really a thing. And it's just like, yeah, I know.
And then she immediately drops an F bomb.
Yeah, and then she's like, let's fucking do this or something. And just like,
No, and the next trailer that we dropped last year at E3 blew your fucking mind. Yeah, that's
oh yeah,
right.
that's
An
it.
F bomb 5 minutes into the show.
Yeah, it's like those of you playing, E3 drinking game, that was an F bomb 5 minutes into the thing. Like, yeah, it was pretty funny. But to her credit, the shit that they showed for that game, which is, it's Ghost Recon Wildlands, and the gameplay trailer they showed
It was great.
was amazing. Like,
Absolutely.
it is the second most hyped I am for an Ubisoft game. But
I
they led strong after
they
the
did.
train wreck of Just Dance 2017.
It was a magnificent train wreck. Like, the fucking butterfly guitarist should go fuck himself. That's all I'm gonna say.
So yeah, so Ghost Recon Wildlands, it was announced at E3 last year.
Yeah.
It is basically the setting is they imagined a world in which a Mexican drug cartel just invades Bolivia and completely takes over the country and turns it into a cocaine state. Like they exist solely to produce cocaine and export it for the cartel. So the game is single player and 4-player co-op, like up to 4-player co-op. Here we go with the co-op stuff again that we mentioned
right?
in the Microsoft. Like, so co-op
Crazy.
starts, and yeah, and this one looks fucking amazing for co-op too. So it's an open world sandbox game, and you basically perform missions in this world, and you can choose how you want to take them on. So it's it's something very popular with these kind of tactical games, and it looks like really cool. And the guys that were playing in this demo were amazingly good at this game. Like they picked their players well.
Yeah.
To the point that I couldn't tell if the dialogue was actually in-game chatter or if it was player communication.
That was literally the note that I wrote. Is I can't tell if it's like a voice actor, like voiceover, or if it's real people, or if it's scripted voice actor.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I just you can't, like, in that video, because it sounds like players talking to each other, but they're using military lingo.
Yep.
And basically, like, the stuff that you see in the game is you see guys on motorcycles, you see guys in trucks and SUVs, guys flying helicopters, and like basically the little mission, they're going in and trying to kidnap one guy from this giant city that is owned by a drug cartel. And they go in and there's this they screw it up, and there's this big chase scene, and they chase the guy down and they wreck his SUV, and they land a helicopter on the road, pull the dude out of his truck, throw him in the car, or throw him in the helicopter, and fly off before
all while under fire.
Yeah, all while under fire. It's like just crazy action game, and it's just like, holy crap, if that is a potentially typical player experience, I'm sold. Like,
the only thing that I noted that was at all negative about the game was that the takedowns looked ineffectual. And if that's the worst thing about it, I am 100% sold.
Yeah. And it's coming out for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC in March 7th of 2017.
Now, the thing I bet you are the most hyped about is the next game. So I'm going to let you just talk all about this. I loved the trailer. I want to play it, but it's your baby.
Yeah. So they started with a teaser trailer, and you're just like, what game is this? Like, it is so, the trailer, the little teaser it's really, really short, and it was just like, what the fuck? And then at the end, it shows you that it is South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
The fractured,
it is a pun.
Butthole, not butthole. Come on.
It's the fractured butthole.
What I did like was that they had Trey Parker, Matt Stone, out for this to
so yeah, the cool thing is they brought out Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and they talked to them about writing the game and like the kind of the story and the stuff we need to know, and it's cool. So it is a direct sequel to the Stick of Truth, and basically takes place immediately following the Stick of Truth. And if you haven't played the Stick of Truth, basically imagine a like 8 to 12 hour long South Park episode where the kids are playing Lord of the Rings. Basically, it's a fantasy setting. Everyone has their character, and you're the new kid in town, and you eventually make friends and become king. Like, you unite the kingdom and defeat the bad guys, and shenanigans happens, and underpants gnomes, and it's a fantastic RPG.
Now, the cool thing about it is that if you haven't played it, if you end up pre-ordering the Fractured Butthole, you do get the Stick of Truth for free.
I feel like Matt Stone right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So
there's
the reason I mentioned that is Matt Stone on stage. Every time the moderator asked him questions about the Fractured Butthole, he laughed. Like, he wasn't even hiding it. Like, he straight up was just laughing. He is so entertained with the name of this game that he, like, it's childish joy, and it's fantastic.
It's wonderful.
But to be fair, the moderator was totally setting up with, like,
sure.
The first thing he says is, so what's going on in the fractured butthole? And like it's
And he loses it. He just loses it.
so the goal is so it you become king at the end of Stick of Truth, and so this is like basically the next day you go over to Cartman's house, and the kids are done playing Fantasyland, and now they're playing superheroes. So you have the Coon and Mysterion, and I'm sure Butters is going to be Professor Chaos, and General
So
Disarray will be in there, and like so they all have their all superhero things.
so catch me up here. Why is Kenny not muffled?
Because Kenny is not muffled when he's Mysterion.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Because it was really like a huge sticking point for me because he's always muffled in the show.
Yes, so he has these bits where he occasionally drops into being Mysterion, and he is the only person on South Park with an actual superpower. Like he can't die.
That's true.
And they wrote it into the story, and now he is a superhero called Mysterion, and he literally cannot die. Like he gets resurrected, and
it's canon that he can't die. Okay, cool.
It is canon that he dies repeatedly and comes back to life, and so now he's a superhero. But Cartman, because he can't be outdone by this Mysterion guy, creates his own superhero persona called the Coon, which is totally making fun of Batman. Like, he talks like Batman, like Christian Bale Batman, and like but this is all in the show, and there's I think a 3-episode set where they do a Superman, like a superhero spoof. And I know you're not a huge South Park fan, but you should totally check out those 3 episodes. Like they're pretty funny. But the thing is they're being superheroes, and it all starts off like Cartman's then they start like this gameplay trailer, and Cartman's explaining what they're going to do, and it's a total parody of the Marvel universe. So he has this giant chalkboard of like all the movies that they're going to make, and like Stan's character, I think, gets relegated to a Netflix series, but he wants to be in a movie, so they all get mad at each other, and like half of the kids leave, and that splits the faction. And then basically the entire rest of the game looks like it's a Marvel Civil War parody, which looks fucking hilarious.
Hence the title, The Fractured Butthole.
Yes.
Or the fractured butthole, if you want to be a child about it.
Yeah, it's the fractured butthole. So the new stuff that they show is that there's a dozen superhero classes for you to pick from. The ones that they showed in the trailer were a speedy guy like the Flash.
Yep.
And then like a juggernaut kind of behemoth guy were the two that they actually, there was a third one in the middle, but they only kind of briefly glossed over it. But there's 12 total, and you can mix and match powers from each one to create your own superhero.
Because you're a kid, why the fuck not?
Which is fucking awesome. And
absolutely.
And if the thing in the Stick of Truth, there's two big things from the Stick of Truth that carry over is, one, your kid's superpower is that you can make friends with anyone. Which is how you make friends and you bring the two sides together, because you're the new kid and you like any people like you for some reason and no one knows why. And
except Cartman, fuck that guy.
Cartman likes you, like you become Cartman's friend. Like, it's really weird. But and then the other thing is you learn how to fart, and all of your special attacks are different farts, which is right up South Park's alley. And they have some really, really funny effects with them. And this carries over into the new game, but now your farts like alter time. Like it is, they called it space and time, or their two big updates. And like combat now has movement in it, and instead of just being the standard JRPG people on both sides and you jump over and attack and jump back, like there's actually like a little grid-based movement going on, and you can knock people around in the grids for combo attacks and all kinds of other craziness. And then there's cover in the game, which there wasn't before, so you can like hide behind chairs and stuff in the room, which is also really cool. And yeah, and then your farts
rip the fabric of space-time, I believe is what
yes
was said. What I found interesting is that, what is this gay fish that wants to get his mom into heaven?
Matt Stone kind of made a joke about it at the end, where like there's an episode of South Park where they basically make fun of Kanye for like half an hour, and the entire making fun of Kanye is like there's a joke about it's a joke I think that starts on the Ellen DeGeneres show in the thing that is like do you like fish sticks? And then the response is, yeah, I like fish sticks. And then it's like, oh, do you like putting fish sticks in your mouth? And then it's like, yes, I like putting fish sticks in my mouth. And then it's like, oh, what are you, a gay fish? And like, and this is a viral joke that catches on in South Park, and it's kind of
Delightful.
funny. Yeah,
Delightful.
it's a pun because fish sticks
Sounds like fish sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kanye doesn't get the joke.
Of course, because Kanye.
And starts taking offense to people calling him a gay fish. Because he doesn't
Wonderful.
get the joke.
Okay.
And
Okay. I got it now. We're good.
This whole episode stems from Kanye not being a lyrical genius, but not understanding this fish sticks joke.
Yeah, lyrical genius. We won't get into that because I think he's an idiot. Anyway, so
the awesome thing is December 6th is when the Fractured Butthole comes out.
I do have a one more thing to talk about, and that is Cartman telling your tragic backstory, which was there was this playable cutscene where Cartman gets really more and more irritated the more time you spend in your bedroom, and as you leave, you apparently find out that your dad fucked your mom, and that is what sets apart the whole ridiculousness that apparently stems to the Civil War.
Yes,
was just wait, what? That's every dad fucked their mom.
Yeah, and it's Cartman's misunderstanding of how everything in the world works, which is hilarious. Yes. But yeah, that is the new South Park game, which I am super, super looking forward to. And I totally recommend picking up Stick of Truth because, I mean, if you pre-order it and get it for free, that's awesome. But I'm also pretty sure you can get it for like less than $20 or so now.
In fact, let me check Steam real quick. Why don't you talk about the next trailer while I look that up?
So the next game they launched into was The Division. And again, they threw out some interesting stats in this one that they didn't during Microsoft, like the fact that The Division has 10 million players, which is like, holy shit. That's doing pretty good.
That is really good.
Yeah. So they talked about the Underground expansion, which was mentioned during the Microsoft panel. And then they hinted in the Microsoft panel about another DLC that's on the way that they also talked about here. So the Underground has randomly generated dungeons. I put that it was spoiled during the Microsoft press conference.
Yeah, kind of.
It's dropping on June 28th for Xbox and PC and August 2nd for PS4. And then the other neat thing that comes along with it is that they are doing a Ubisoft's 30th anniversary is this year. So as a gift, they're giving 3 skins to all players in the Division, and it's like a Splinter Cell skin I think a Ghost Recon skin.
Ghost Recon, yeah.
And then there was a third one that I don't remember, but it's another big Ubisoft game. That's a kind of a tactical shooter, Tom Clancy-ish. Tom Clancy game, it's a spin-off, but
I will say that the going back to South Park, the Fractured Butthole is $60. The Stick of Truth is still $30. So I would recommend pre-ordering the if you're gonna buy Stick of Truth, just pre-order the Fractured Butthole. You'll get both games, and you'll get a $30 game for free.
Yeah,
there's no losing here.
You're basically getting $90 worth of games for $60. That's pretty good.
Absolutely.
And hopefully they'll actually have DLC for it this time because Stick of Truth has basically no DLC.
But it's a 12-hour game for $30 is the only problem I have with it. Anyway,
yeah,
there's 2 DLCs, but I'm not sure what they are.
Yeah, the second DLC that they talked about for The Division was called Survival, and
Yep.
they had a trailer for it, and it has like crazy weather going on, and it looks like the trailers, like everything at E3, is either really precise or really incredibly vague, and this one was really incredibly vague, and it basically looked like they might be adding resource scarcity, like you actually have to hunt down food and stuff like that. I don't know if that's what they're actually doing, but that's what the trailer makes it look like, because
It seems like it.
dudes in the snow trying to hunt shit down, and yeah, it's there. um but
It's coming soon. This nebulous
yes,
soon.
yes,
Um,
they did not give a release date for it.
one thing that the next thing was Ubisoft VR came out with Eagle Flight, which was what they debuted with. It was kind of a nebulous thing. They didn't really go into much detail, but what they debuted with was a 3 versus 3 flight game with eagles. It's first person, and it's apparently a capture the flag game. Is what they debuted
Well,
with.
they demoed competitive multiplayer with a capture the flag style game, uh and it's a weird VR first person shooter flying combat game, and like the birds are shooting, like, which was really weird. Like the birds like make a noise, like make a cawing noise or whatever, and like shoot like a cone of sound, and it like
It's just kind of vomit.
knocks other birds out, which is like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, it was a short demo. They showed the 3v3, and it's coming quote unquote this fall.
Oh, to reassure you some more about South Park, my South Park playthrough was 22 hours for Stick of Truth.
That's I don't know. Is that fuck it? It's worth $30. Just go buy the $60 game. Get the sticker truth for free. Just go have fun. It's if you like South Park humor, you'll love this because it is actually absolutely 100% written by Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Yes, and the two you mentioned, I think DLC for Stick of Truth, and they're just costumes.
Okay, because there's the Ultimate Fellowship pack and the Super Samurai Spaceman pack, which apparently are just costume packs that totals out to $4.98 in Steam. So,
Yep.
don't bother with them unless you really like costumes. And
Yeah,
sure,
like
why not?
the Ultimate Fellowship pack is, surprise, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, but so Eagle Flight VR, it looked like it has the potential to be incredibly nausea inducing for some people, because like it was super fast flight, and like I know that's gonna mess with some people's brains, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, but it is Ubisoft VR, which it honestly it looked pretty fun, but it
Yeah,
was really vague and nebulous, and probably not something I'd play unless I had a VR to begin with.
and it's allegedly coming out next fall.
Yeah, it was very vague on what it's going. It just said this fall.
Yeah. And then next was like probably the most interesting of the things that they announced. And it's called Star Trek VR. And it is a cooperative bridge simulator for Star Trek. So you and friends can sit down with VR on, and you're manning the different stations on the bridge of a starship, and you're having Star Trek shenanigans. The cool part about the trailer is that it actually had real Star Trek people in it. Like LeVar Burton was in it. One of the chicks from Voyager was in it. The
Jerry
one who
Ryan,
played,
7 of 9,
yeah, the one who played the Borg chick. Um,
and Carl Urban too.
yeah, and the funny part is that like they were all laughing at kind of LeVar Burton, because he immediately dropped back into Geordie LaForge mode and like kind of went nuts, with like straight into the Star Trek lingo, and it was having, looks like a lot of fun with it, and like it looks really interesting. It looks like what everyone has always wanted from a Star Trek style game, and like the only downside I see right now is the fact that if
It
you have 4 people playing, you have to have 4 VR setups.
Yeah, which is I believe I put some notes into your notes, which was would total out to what was it about $2,800?
Yeah. So if you have the HTC Vive, that's $800 each.
Yep. Which
So
2,400. Well, oh, I'm sorry, it'll be 3,200 for all 4 HTC Vives, plus 4 copies of the game, which would be about $240, considering, let's say, $60 for the game, which
Yeah.
totals out to what,
About three
3,800?
grand. Yeah,
Yeah,
at least 3 grand. So
yeah.
the other thing is then you need a PC capable of running with the stats that the Vive or the Oculus Rift requires.
Which mine could, but I spent almost 2 grand on this PC, and I don't want to
Yeah.
spend another four for the, well, three and some change for the all of those copies. However, what I loved is LeVar Burton getting really, like a little kid saying, "I
Yeah,
nailed being an engineer."
yeah, that was really
It was wonderful watching that man just gush about playing this game because he lived Star Trek
yeah,
for 6 years, I think it was.
yeah. So in comparison, the Oculus Rift is $599, so it's $200 cheaper than the Vive, but it's still
Yeah,
600
it's
bucks a pop plus tax.
that's still out of reach for most people. I will say that it is also in fall of 2016.
Yeah, so it's literally right around the corner,
Yep,
but
3 months at the earliest.
yeah. The problem is finding like friends who have machines capable of playing.
Which is going to be a difficulty for pretty much anything, really. I mean, you and I could play it. My buddy Ben could play it, but that's about it. That's all I can think of right now. That has the PC. Everybody else I play with is on Xbox.
Yeah. Which that'll be interesting when consoles can start doing it, if they can do it cheaply enough.
Mm-hmm.
But the question
Project
is,
Scorpio.
maybe unless Project Scorpio is also going to be $800.
Maybe. Anyway, next up was For Honor, which was a very interesting trailer, which had 3 different factions.
Yeah.
The Viking, the Samurai, and Knight.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was set in 1,000 years of war when Apollon decides to strike as the villainess, I should say.
It made me laugh because like the little trailer they showed, it's like if they've been fighting for 1,000 years and there has been zero cultural change in either of these 3 cultures.
Right. What I found interesting is they've all been fighting the same place for that same patch of fucking water, and they forgot what they were fighting about. So that these 3 guys that were fighting there are 1,000 fucking years old, at least.
Yeah. It was just kind of funny. Like, really, dudes? Come on.
Yeah. I mean,
but then they showed a actual gameplay segment, and I don't know if it was actually being played live or if it was just yeah.
Because the Ubisoft dude was sitting there with a controller in hand playing the game.
Okay, but basically, it looks like Dynasty Warriors. That's what it reminded me of.
I wrote down it looks like Samurai Warriors in my freaking notes. So same freaking game, really.
Yeah. So it's a Dynasty Warriors style game where you're running around killing a whole bunch of people and then occasionally fighting a boss.
It was very slow paced, though. I noticed, like not like a Samurai or Dynasty Warriors game. The narrative prompts I really liked, where they tell you where to go and what to do. The combat seemed kind of clunky to me, or was that just my impression?
I don't think it's clunky. I think it's methodical. Like it looks like there's actually like a like solid blocking system on it, because you could see sometimes there was like a reticle that had like 3 sides, and so there's like an overhead attack and then attacks from the left and the right, and you have to switch your guard around is what it looks like, and then you have to try and attack into openings and counter attack, and it looks like there's a lot of room for it to be good, but it's a thinking man's fighting game and not just button mashing to kill people as fast as possible.
When I say clunky, let me elaborate a little bit on that. Like the reactions were delayed on normal enemies. Like the dude hit the enemy and the enemy reacted like a second later, like a bad B movie.
It might just be because it's still an alpha.
It could very well be, and that's absolutely fine. But it will be released on Valentine's Day of all things, 2/14 of 2017. And
you can actually go to their website and register to join in the alpha, or attempt to join in the alpha if you want. Which, it looked at least kind of interesting. So you might, if you go check out the trailer, and if you like it, check it out.
It looked like a fun game. Go register for it. I mean, hell, it's free to register. What's it going to cost you? Maybe a few emails in your inbox. Go play. It's fun. The next one was a trailer for a little kind of a experimental title called Grow Up.
Yes, and it's a sequel to the game Grow Home. There's just a little trailer for it, and it's coming out in August. So if you want to get a better idea of what kind of game it is, go look at Grow Home. But it's basically like a little robot growing plants to try and grow home. And then this one, he's growing to the moon, apparently.
Darn tootin'.
Yeah.
And it's going to be released in August for PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yes. As usual.
Yeah, it seems like everything that Ubisoft debuted was for the three main platforms, which they have been leaving Nintendo in the dust. PC, PS4, and Xbox One were pretty much all of the games that we mentioned earlier were for all these consoles,
except for Just Dance 2017,
which was for everything, including the Nintendo NX. Great job, Ubisoft, on spoiling Nintendo's thunder.
Yeah,
great job, guys.
So the next game was really out there, is I guess a good way to do it. So the studio that makes the Trials games, so like Trials HD and all those games that are actually like look like they're a lot of fun and are frustrating as shit to some people because you can die a lot really fast. And then the groups that played Far Cry
3 Blood Dragon.
Yes.
Let's help you out here.
Yes. So these two studios came together and made Trials of the Blood Dragon, and it's this ridiculously trippy looking crazy driving game that's not just limited to motorcycles. Like it's got all kinds of crazy shit driving around
thrown in there for good measure.
Yeah, and the craziest thing about the whole announcement is that it is out today. Like you can go get it right now. Like
if you're listening to this, go play it.
Maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
It was out as soon as the Ubisoft conference ended. That was what Miss Tyler said.
It is $15 on Steam. Right.
That is cheap as shit. Go play it. If you really enjoyed Trials Fusion or Trials 2 or Trials, go play it.
Yeah,
it's Trials with Blood Dragon characters, put it that way.
And craziness. Craziness.
I wonder if Michael Bain is reprising his role. Because he was the main character in Blood Dragon.
So this is the tagline on Steam. So this is actually kind of funny. The year is 2019. Roxanne and Slater, the offspring of the legendary Rex Power cult, are going to Vietnam War 4 to save freedom and save the world.
Oh, you did true.
So I'm gonna guess that I'm guessing Rex Power Colt is your the guy that you're talking about. So probably not going to be in it, but so much, maybe a little bit.
It actually said he was also in it in the trailer.
Well, that's good.
The character anyway.
Yeah. So after Trials of the Blood Dragon, they talked about the Ass Creed movie. So Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender coming out on December 21st. And the funny part to me, like me being a sarcastic ass and not really caring about the Assassin's Creed movie, like Aisha Tyler asked the producer, like one of the executive producers, so why did you want to do this movie? And my answer was just money. He's doing it for the fucking money. Like, come on.
Pretty much, yeah. What I will say is that the only thing that gives me hope about it is that they're not treading on the Assassin's Creed games themselves. They're augmenting them with a new character called Caleb Lynch, and his apparently his animus presence is called Aguilar. It's not any of the current characters, not Ezio, not any of the other ones that are in the other Assassin's Creed games, but I kind of like that they've decided to go in a different direction.
Yep. So yeah, that was that. Like there
was a quick trailer and a talk with the producer.
Yep. After this, they went into Watch Dogs 2, which apparently was really well received by the audience there.
Hugely well received.
So they showed a trailer for it, and then they came out and talked a little bit, and then they showed a further gameplay trailer. And the gameplay trailer was a lot better than the trailer.
It looked really nice. I thought the whole thing was really well done for Watch Dogs 2. It was the only thing that actually kept me awake for most of Ubisoft's conference. Yeah. I'm sorry, Aisha Tyler, I love you, but holy shit, that entire conference was so goddamn boring.
So the game is set in San Francisco, and the protagonist is a black dude, has
Marcus
actually
Holloway.
which has actually been stirring up some controversy very stupidly lately, which is kind of funny
Really?
because people are accusing Ubisoft of having an agenda with the game because it's a black guy fighting against the system. And people, like, no shit, people are saying that a black guy wouldn't be smart enough to be a hacker.
All right, I'm done. Can we
And
just cut? Can we just shut this down?
like it's just like, why are people so stupid now? Like, what?
I'm done with this. His name's Marcus Holloway. He seems like a canny operative for Dead Sick. It seems like it's going to be co-op, drone play.
Yeah.
Neat. The infiltration demo was kind of neat. It'll be out November 15th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. You can tell how done I am with this. That I'm just
Yeah.
kind of.
It was, the gameplay looked really interesting. There's lots of
It did. It
stealth
did.
covert up stuff, and then there again, look at what Watchdog is famous for, the really crazy, very unbelievable hacking stuff where the guy
Yeah.
just like waves his cell phone around and like cars start driving down the street, and it's like, that, what the fuck?
Yeah, he just
Okay.
kind of taps a button on his cell phone and everything starts driving.
Yeah.
The big thing was that PS4 owners will have access to DLCs 30 days before PC or Xbox One. So if you got a PS4, enjoy that particular perk.
In my opinion, it looks more interesting than the original game. Like, that was just kind of the note. Like, the first game was like kind of meh, whatever. This one actually is like, I could see picking that up if it gets cheap enough.
I will say one thing about the original. I forgot I owned it. That's how forgettable the original Watch Dogs was.
The one thing that I noticed in the demo that was a big gripe that a lot of people had with the first one is that there was no random crime stopping. Like,
For Watch Dogs 2?
yeah, like,
Yeah,
like in the
okay.
original Watch Dogs, you could be going down the street and like someone would be in trouble and you would have to like, or maybe in trouble, and you'd have to sit there and watch just to the point where someone actually committed a crime and then attack them
Yep.
and try and prevent the crime. And like, it pissed people off because like, if you were like half a second too early, like, you were the one committing the crime, and
Yeah.
it,
The
it
only the
just,
only thing I will say is that it's early. Like
yeah.
this will not be released until November 15th. So there could be random crime stoppages. We
Yeah.
didn't see much of the gameplay trailer.
Yeah, the gameplay trailer was very, very specifically one infiltration mission. So
Yep.
like them going from like the beachfront and then infiltrating this office building.
Yep.
And that was kind of cool.
I liked it.
and
And they
then-
are working on a feature film too.
Yeah, they sprung that out that they're working on a Watchdog movie that could be interesting depending on how they handle it.
This property is rife for feature films
Oh yeah.
and all kinds of other stories that they could tell. Even a Netflix series would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Like, it really, depending on how you do it, you could definitely do something interesting with it.
Absolutely.
And then after this was their kind of final entry in the evening, and it was a pretty ambitious game, and it looks interesting, but like, they kept touting about how original it was and how nothing like it has been done before, and like, it kind of made me laugh a little bit because it's almost exactly like another game that's already on Steam.
Which is?
It's called Snow, and you should look it up because it's, let me see how cheap it is right now. It is free to play.
Okay. I'll go give it a shot. But tell us about it.
Yeah,
Tell us about Steep.
Yeah, it's called Steep, which you didn't find out until like the very end.
Of course.
Because that's the way these things work apparently. So they call it an open world action sports title, and they say that it's a completely new genre of game. So the trailer, which featured game engine footage, to have that little throwback, showed several modes of transportation in this game. So basically, there's a mountain range for you to run amok on, and you can paraglide, you can go skiing, you can go snowboarding, and they have wingsuit flying. And so these are the ways that you can travel around, and you can basically kind of like swap back and forth between them, and they have like a bunch of friend tracking stuff and sharing stuff with your friends and creating your own routes down the mountains because it's all free form. And yeah, but so the
If
way
it's not
this
if it's not ski free and there's not an abominable snowman trying to kill you, I'm gonna be very upset.
Nice. The reason this reminds me of Snow is because Snow is a open world skiing and snowboarding game, which has like a couple of big mountains, and you literally get like dropped off at anywhere you want on the mountain, and then just kind of free ride however you want on it. So it's like this is the same game, just without all the crazy multiplayer, well, the like seamless multiplayer interaction and all the tracking and stuff is. But yeah, so.
Nice.
And that game is, like I said, Snow is free, so go check it out because it is actually a little cool, especially if you liked the SSX style games, like those snowboarder style games. Like that's exactly what Snow is. It plays exactly like those kind of games, and it is an early access title, but it's free, so who cares?
And if you don't want to check out Snow, Steep will ship in December.
Yes, it's supposed to ship in December. The things that they said about it, like the two big quotes that stood out, is they said that the game is about doing things with your friends, which again sounds cool. Like, hey, we all like these little snowboardy games and racing down mountains and stuff and all this crazy shit. So let's play these games with each other. And one of the things you can do is you can challenge your friends to stuff, this is where the other part is they said it's about sharing things with your friends. And so like you can race a little track, yes, like diseases, but you can like race a little section of the mountain and like save the run and post it to your friends and say shit like here, beat this time, or here, do this, but you have to try and do this while you're doing it. And yeah, and Paul is fucking losing it right now. I think you had a little too much scotch, sir.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Are you good?
I'm always good. Let's wrap this the fuck up so I go to bed.
Yes. So yeah, Steep was the last thing they talked about, and yeah, that was basically it.
All right, you can find us on iTunes and Stitcher. If you want to listen to the next episode, we'll be checking out Nintendo as well as Sony's conferences tomorrow. So check them out. Give us a 5-star review, all the fun stuff. Email us at podcast@loadcardgaming.com. It doesn't have to be 5 stars. Just leave a fucking review, please. I'm begging you here.
It's fine.
Just a little bit. Anyway.
More reviews.
Yes, we appreciate those. If you enjoyed this, leave us some feedback on Facebook. Leave us some feedback on Twitter. It's @loadedcart or facebook.com/loadedcartgaming. If you want to leave feedback from me, you can contact me at paul@loadedcartgaming.com. You can contact Dan at shop@loadedcartgaming.com.